Welcome back to my YouTube channel, I guess, Keeping It Real. And I am Jessica Parker, and I am a licensed mental health professional in private practice and have been for some years now. So, yeah, I just wanted to sort of be able to offer a little bit of free therapy, I guess, if you will, although it's not individual sessions. I realize I hope that the information discussed on videos actually helps other people, and maybe even if it doesn't help, it might help you to identify things that lead you to going to a therapist or getting the help you need. And last week, I explained that we were talking about narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder as a diagnosis. And I had mentioned that I have clients that kind of inspire me to do some of these videos, and certainly, life experiences of my own play into that as well. They're a factor. And it also helps me, I hope, to be a decent therapist for my clients, so that I can help them and relate sometimes to, we all have this similar human experiences, if not the same, and different outcomes possibly, but still, most of us have the same human experiences throughout our lives to some degree. And this is kind of a segue into what I want to discuss about narcissistic abuse. I think that it's hard for us to distinguish between abuse in terms of trauma and victimization versus maybe I made a bad choice. I should have known better. I was in this relationship too, and there are a lot of reasons why people stay in relationships. Now, it could be a marriage, it could be siblings, parents. We could go down the list, but there's certainly lots of reasons why people stay in relationships with others who have abusive tendencies. Now, narcissists, or those we might deem to be, narcissistic personality disordered individuals, it's a unique situation. It's tricky because the narcissist will actually come off oftentimes very charming and can be very smart, funny, come off very friendly. And so when something negative happens to us as a result of the narcissistic personality disordered individual, and we'll just call it NPD, then we're sort of thrown off and we think, oh God, that's not how they normally are. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. Maybe they didn't mean it. We all have our faults. We all have flaws. The thing, though, that I like to tell folks and clients and other folks is that the difference between the typical average person versus the NPD is that the narcissist will actually do different things to yield a result, and there's not much difference between like what appears to the average person as something that's kind or nice or good versus what is not nice or unkind or not good. And what I mean by that is, for instance, a narcissist will literally use whatever they can find in their toolbox, as be it dysfunctional or or not. But the whole point I'm getting at is that a narcissist will be friendly to you and be kind and complimentary because they know that they can get something by doing that. Similarly, they will also be hurtful and unkind and abusive for the same reason. So it's not like, oh, they're being mean to me or unkind and it must be they're mad or I did something wrong, or it's because, something happened and they had a good reason. Maybe. But what's more likely is it's just yielding a result that is desired by them. And so that can be confusing for the average person, especially when most of us, in relationships are looking for, ways to be our best selves and to be good participants, to cooperate, and to be a support. The problem is that the narcissist in the relationship, it's really all about them. And so they're looking for ways to maintain that. And so if they're giving you support, if they're being nice, it's really just because that's what they have to do to keep you sort of roped in for whatever they're getting from you. And so I think that it can be so confusing and shocking when you see someone that you care for that, maybe you don't know if they're a narcissist, but if you do, if you're questioning it, then you probably see a lot of these sudden shifts that just don't make sense. Promises they don't keep because they changed the rules. That's not uncommon. They will promise you the world, and then when they don't provide whatever it is that they offer, then they'll come up with some excuse. And in their book, it's fair. It's fair because now that's the rule. That's, you broke the rule, and that's their way of getting out of providing what they have promised and connecting with you that way. The moving goal line, so to speak. And also, I would go so far as to say that they delight in this a lot of times, depending on the individual, or at the very least, it's entertainment for them. They see us flailing a little and getting confused and upset, and it's also a good way for them to place blame. Like, see, you're the crazy one. Look at her, look at him or her, they're acting, they are crazy. They are the one that's the problem. And that could actually prop up some other relationship dynamic they have with other people even. So that they can say, I'm the good one, or I'm the smart one, and you know how that they are. But again, this goes back to what I said on the last video, which is that if you're working from a point of view, a point where you see life as like a dog-eat-dog world, that I'm going to get you before you get me, then it makes a lot of sense. And it seems rather sad, too, because imagine always feeling that you can't truly trust others, or you can't really have a loving, bonding experience with another human, because it's impossible to do that entirely if we see the world through the lens of everybody is out to get their own way, and that I have to just be the same and do that, and I can't trust their actions or reactions because they're just trying to get what they need too. And that's kind of sad, actually. I mean, there's some truth to that, but at the same time, we're all on a spectrum. Maybe have some greater gifts of empathy than others, maybe not. But either way we spin it, it is there. There is empathy, sympathy, compassion to some degree. I read things or have conversations with folks about, do narcissists really love us? Do narcissists have any sympathy, any compassion? Do they care? And I think in their own way they do. Like, what is love to the narcissist? What is love to any of us, right? And that's a hard one to really measure. But I think to the average person, it can be damaging because it's kind of like we're speaking different languages. And I talk to clients and other people in my life about, I say, yes, I know how to speak narcissistic language, but I don't like it. I don't want to do it. It can be quite triggering and it's not pleasant. But I think people who have been in relationships with narcissists know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like you have to convince them that you're safe for them to tell the truth to by propping them up and making them feel like they're super important. And so that's a lack of authenticity on my part or anybody's part who knows what I'm talking about. And it can feel bad because if you are, a highly empathic person or sympathetic, compassionate person, that feels awful because it's not real. It's something we're doing to yield a result, much like the narcissist. The reason I bring this up is because that's truly the only language they speak. And so to be in a relationship with a narcissist would require you to speak narcissistic language, which then would require you to almost be forced to be or live like the narcissists themselves. It's a mess. All I can say is that it is abuse. And so when I work with clients who say, I don't know why I still feel this horrible feeling, or I'm just so mad, I'm angry, I'm sad, I try to point to the fact that it's victimization. We've been victimized. It's abuse, and you've been victimized, and you have the right to feel bad, and you have the right to tell your story and to be believed, and to have someone be affirming and validating, and to heal and take the time, because when there's trauma and abuse, there's grief and loss. We grieve the loss of the life that we expected to have, wanted to have. And we grieve the loss of the life or the future that will never be, because of the damage that's done by the narcissist. So, yeah, I hope that helps. I may do more on narcissistic personality disorder, and how it affects others, and where to go and what to do after that. But I hope that helps for now, and I will see you back next week. Have a good weekend.